from the author perspective, be open to experimentation. So our team is great. We've seen like literally tens of thousands of promotions, right? So like we have a ton of experience about what works and what doesn't, but what matters for your unique piece of art that you've created is how it resonates. Welcome to the Written Word Podcast, the podcast for authors who want to build a successful writing career. I am Ferol Vernon, and I'm here with Ricci Wolman, and this is the Written Word Media Pod. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Written Word Media Podcast. Today's show, we're doing something a little different. So instead of picking a topic and breaking it down, we have a grab bag of author questions that we're going to go through. And I'd like to introduce Emma Boyer, who's our VP of Digital Ops and Author Relations. Hey, Emma, how's it going?
Hey, good. I'm so glad to be here today.
Yeah, so Emma works on the front lines with our team answering direct author questions. And so today we have 10 or 12 questions. We'll see how many we get to, but we are going to go through some of the most common questions from the past week or two that authors have written in. And I'm pretty excited about this because this is actually what everybody wants to know because they're asking it. So Emma, why don't you go ahead? You can start us off and pick a question, and Ricci and I will do our best to field the answers, or we'll just pitch it back to you and you can answer your own question.
Sounds good. I'll preface this by saying these are all like very real questions that we got from authors. And, while we hope they're representative of things we get all the time, they are specific to things that our team really did field. So hopefully they're helpful to other people. And the one we'll start off with today is a question that we're getting more and more, I think, as things get more expensive in the world. And that is, what products do you offer at Written Word Media that are under $100?
Yeah, this is great. This is, very topical. And while, we just passed Mother's Day, we didn't have any specific Mother's Day questions from authors. The general economic uncertainty definitely drives questions. Ricci, do you want to field this one about what products that we offer that are under $100?
Sure, I can take a stab. I think I'd start by saying is that the whole ethos behind Written Word Media is providing really effective, affordable promotions and marketing tools for authors. So I think probably more than half of the products that we offer fall under the $100 or under bucket. And something to know is that we actually price our products based on the effectiveness and the audience reach. So more niche genres will have lower prices. Audience genres that have really large audiences are going to have higher prices. So I think the vast majority of our bargain booksy promos fall under $100. A good portion of our free booksy promotions fall under $100. We have a readers list promotion that is a thematic list that we put out every month, and most of those are under $100, really in the like $75 to $100 range. Another product that we have that's outside of promos that is a really good deal are our giveaway product. The giveaway product is a list builder. So if you're an author who's trying to build your email list, which we highly recommend because you get to own your audience and it's an asset you get to keep investing in and recouping dividends from, that is only $75. And with that product, you'll end up getting hundreds of new readers to your email list. So those are just a few off the top of my head. What did I leave out, Emma?
I think you covered most of it. Yeah, I think that it would be for most authors in any given genre, like you can absolutely find something that will work for you that is under $100. And I think, this will definitely be a theme today, but what we're always happy to do is help you. If you want to write into us and say like, hey, my budget is X and I'd really like to run a promotion, or here are what my goals are. Our wonderful team who answer author questions all day, every day is happy to kind of help pair you with a promotion that would be a good fit.
Yeah, I think that's really important is there's a lot of things that are under $100. Depends on genre. The other thing I would add is that, if you have an audiobook, all of our audio promotions essentially right now are under $100, which is really exciting, especially with all the new audio that's coming. And I think what Emma said is really important. We'll help you. You don't have to be, on your own here. You can write into Written Word Media and somebody there will literally walk you through all of our options depending on your budget. And while we do have a lot of promotions that are more expensive and more impactful as well, everybody's got to start somewhere. And so I think this is a great question. And what people are asking behind the actual question is I don't have very much money. What can I do? Right. And I think, we've got a lot of things to help those folks out. Let's move on. Question number 2. Emma, what do we got from the grab bag?
Okay, question 2, we're zooming out a little bit. So for maybe people who are less familiar with us or less familiar with email promos, what exactly is your promotion? What is a promotion at Written Word Media, and how can I tell if it worked?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to split this into the 2 questions that it is for us. So what are you? Like, what exactly is a Written Word Media promotion? Emma, I think it'd be great to hear from you, like this is obviously an author who's getting started doing their homework like they should. What do we want to say to somebody who says like, hey, what is this? What does it do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think probably what this person is referring to is an email promotion. So I always like to be clear about that, because at Written Word Media, I think, are maybe best known for our email promotions, but we do have other products, obviously. So I think I'm going to talk specifically about email promotions, and what an email promotion is, like at its very most basic level, is you as an author pay for a spot in one of our newsletters that goes out to hundreds of thousands of readers. And we use a really specific targeting system to make sure that those readers are readers who are interested in your book. So if I am a fantasy author and my book is free on a Tuesday, I decide I'm going to run an email promo and I'm going to buy a spot in Free Booksy. My book will only be in front of readers who are interested in fantasy titles and who are interested in reading them for free. So it's a very high intent map. So that's the way it works. That's what an email promo is. And there are different shades of gray for different price points, different genres, kind of specific things about specials or series, but at its most basic level, it's sort of an ad unit in a newsletter that's going out to readers.
I love it. That's perfect. And so, Ricci, then I'll flip the second part of the question to you, which is really like a gold mine of information. Is like, how do I tell if it worked, right? And this is, authors are always looking for results, as they should be, right? We want to see authors sell books. We want readers to read those books. How can they tell if a promo they run with us, or really a promo they run anywhere for their books, actually worked?
Yeah, so there are quite a few things that happen when you run a promo. The first thing, and the most obvious thing that'll happen, is you'll get sales or downloads of your book. Predominantly, this is ebook or audiobook. And so one quick and easy way to check if your promo worked is to look at your dashboards, your sales dashboards, whether that's logging directly into the retailer, Amazon or Google Play, or if you have a distributor, you can log in there. And so what you should see on the day of a promotion is that you see a spike in sales or a spike in downloads if your book is free, and sales if your book is priced. The other thing that a promo does is it actually kickstarts a lot of the retail algorithms for you. This is particularly true with Amazon, and it's part of the reason that, as Emma alluded to, we have these hyper-targeted audiences, because what the retailers are trying to figure out is, who is this book for? Who would like this book? Who is most likely to actually purchase this book in the future? And so by sending a ton of readers who are very specifically the target audience for your book, the algorithm can now see, okay, we had X number of readers come through, they purchased this book, and they know a ton of other information about these readers. So if you're a science fiction author and you run a sci-fi promo, and then all of these sci-fi readers purchase your book on Amazon or Google Play, now the retailer knows, okay, this is a book that sci-fi readers really love, and they will start to recommend your book to those readers in email or in, you may also like different places on the retail algorithm. The third thing that promos will drive are reviews and fan building. So these take a little longer to see, right? So somebody has to read your book, then come in and review your book. So getting reviews could take potentially months, but you should see over the next few months that you start seeing your review numbers pop up. And then if you do have a call to action in the back of your book that says, hey, please sign up for my email list, or please go grab my lead magnet, you should start seeing that traffic coming in and people adding to your list as well. So those are probably the three major areas to look at when you're trying to figure out how did a promotion perform. The one caveat I'll put in here, well, not caveat, it's really an addition, is if you are exclusive to Amazon, and you are in their KU program, when you run a promotion, what you should also see is a kick up in your KENP reads in the weeks and months following up a promotion, and then you get paid out for those as well. So those can be a little slower coming in, but you get those, plus you get any sales that are happening on the same day. So it's kind of a bonus, a double bonus when you're running a promo. What did I leave out there, guys?
I think that's good. Just so to summarize, it's sales in your KDP dashboard, teaching the algorithm, reviews, and those are like the big three. So if I see a bump in sales, if I see a few reviews come in, if the algorithm starts to learn about my book, that's a successful promotion, essentially, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that I would add is, more and more authors are starting to sell direct and potentially are maybe not on Amazon, or when they're running a promo, they're putting their Amazon link, but they're also putting their own website link in as well. And so if you have a website, you can actually look in your Google Analytics and see the traffic that's being generated. So that's another metric that you can now see directly as well.
Got it. Okay. I think that's great. Yeah. And, every author should be making sure that their promotions work either through us or wherever they're running. Like, at the end of the day, what they're looking for, what they should be looking for is results, right? And we all as a community want to see that. Okay. Amazing. Emma, what else is in the bag?
Sure. This is one of my favorites, and we get this question a lot. I think as authors either get the rights back to backlist titles that, maybe traditional publishers had, or, start to think about marketing in a different way. This author asks, I have quite a large backlist. I'm wondering which of your products would be best to help revive it.
Yeah. So this is a great question. I think one of the things, sort of the undertones of the question is, does this mean you have a lot of books that have never done well, or you've never promoted, or do you have a lot of books that were once promoted but have since gone dormant? And we get both, and there's no right or wrong answer here, but I think there is potentially a different formula for my whole entire catalog I've never promoted because I'd rather write than do marketing, or I used to spend a lot of time and effort on marketing, but I haven't recently. What do I do to kind of get back in the game? Ricci, I don't know if you have a specific answer here, but how would somebody who let's start with a backlist that used to be promoted. So these are books that have a little bit of traction at one point in the past, have a handful of reviews, but now this author wants to kind of get back on the horse, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the first thing to do is to look at the backlist and make sure that everything is grouped appropriately. So if the backlist consists of books in a series, then on the retailers, they should be set up as such, because one really powerful promotion that you can run is a series promotion where you promote book one in the series, and then what that lands up doing is driving sales of other books in the series once the reader has got through book one, because now they're invested, they want to know what happens next. And so if you have a backlist that hasn't been, given a lot of TLC in the last few years, it's highly possible that each book is set up as a standalone instead of being set up with Amazon or Google's or Apple's, series setup, because that wasn't available, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. So make sure that everything is set up. Anything that's in a series is set up in a series, and then running a series promotion on the first book, down pricing the first book in a series to free or 99 cents can really help to then kickstart the rest of the backlist. I think in terms of promotional strategy, I'll probably let Emma take this one. But if you are not in a series and you have, just a bunch of different backlists, running promos on those different titles should create a halo effect on your backlist as well. It's something we probably should have talked about in the previous question. But there are specific strategies and ways to do this. Emma, I don't know if you want to delve into the details there.
Sure. Yeah. So, my honest answer when I talk to authors about this is, do something.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that you're asking here it's a great start. And as Ricci alluded to, the marketing flywheel, especially for backlist titles, is a lot harder to get going than it is to keep going. So what that means is once you do something, it's a lot easier to kind of keep that momentum up. And so I think, Ricci mentioned especially if it's in a series, running a series promo, that is something that I think a lot of authors see success with. If you want to kind of throw a lot of firepower at it, so to speak, we have promo stacks, which is kind of a ready-made set of promotions that runs for 1 day, 3 days, or 5 days. That really boosts the audience. So it's, maybe a free Booksy promotion and one of our partner sites and maybe a reader reach ad. And so over the course of that time, that really gets that flywheel turning because you're going to see a big audience reach. And once you have done that a time or two, I think the key and what we see a lot of our really successful authors do is kind of keeping that going. And we have some tools that hopefully make that a little bit easier for you, which hopefully Ferol can talk about in a second. But what I see a lot of authors with big backlists doing is they sort of have a cadence, right? So maybe this series is being promoted in May and then again in September. And then series number 2 is being promoted again in June and then in October. Whatever rhythm works for you. But I think, kind of once you've started here, keeping it going is really important. And Ferol, I think, recurring promos is a tool that I think could be super powerful here for a lot of our authors. Maybe you could talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I think something that Emma said is so important and just it really bears repeating again, which is, inertia is powerful, right? Once you get it going, keeping it going costs way less money, takes way less effort than letting something just fall off and having to kickstart it again. So, for an author that has a bunch of books that have been, quote unquote, sitting on those digital shelves without being marketed in a while, buying a promo stack and jumpstarting that back catalog is a great idea, but it could be expensive and you're reteaching a whole bunch of people about these books, right? And it's absolutely a great idea. And then I think what we would encourage all authors to do, and we say this every time they write in, and those listeners will get sick of us hearing it, but like the best strategy is to promote every 90 days, right? Flat out. Like, don't let a quarter go by without doing some kind of promotion for one title, right? And if you sort of live and die by that 90-day mark, obviously there's nuance there, but if you just want an easy way to remember what to do to keep inertia going, once every 90 days, 4 times a year. It's not a lot, but make sure each book gets a little love. And Emma was referring to a feature that we have called recurring promotions where, and this is common, like authors are like, well, I'm busy, right? Like, my dog is sick. My kid has after school activities. I have a full-time job. Like I got all this stuff going on in my life. Like, how can I remember to like promote these books all the time? And recurring promotion kind of takes care of that. So you can go to any promotion that we ever run, whatever your favorite one is, and you can go into your Written Word Media dashboard and then use that promotion to set up a recurring promotion. And that'll run it every 45, 60, or 90 days, whatever it is that you want. And that will automatically book every time we open new inventory, it'll run that promotion for you. So this can be a really nice sort of set it and forget it way. It's not for everybody. Some people like to, think about their promotions and change them and run different ones and experiment. That's awesome. You should totally do that. But for those folks that want like a real set it and forget it approach, recurring promotions is something I think that could really help you keep that flywheel spinning without having to think about it so much. Okay, where are we next? We've talked about promos, backlists. What else is inbound this week?
Yeah, so this one's a little bit more specific. And this author wants to know, can I use my own Amazon attribution links in your ads?
Got it. Okay. So Ricci, I'm going to let you handle this one as the queen of marketing attribution, both in and outside of written word media. I'm going to let you take the first crack at this one. Yeah.
So the very short answer to this is no, we do not allow this, but it's for what we think is a really good reason. Most of our promotions, as Emma said, are email promotions. So they go out in our daily newsletters, which is via email. And if you are part of Amazon's affiliate program, it is actually directly against their terms and conditions to put affiliate links in an email. And we have been doing this for 10 years, and we know that Amazon takes this very seriously. We've had an issue with this in the past. And so because we are emailing such a large audience every time these emails go out, and your book is being put in front of such a large audience, even if perhaps you're not getting flagged when you send an email to your audience, there's a pretty high probability that when we send it out with your affiliate link, something will get pinged in the back end of Amazon, and they'll get your affiliate account flagged and potentially suspended. And we really don't want that, because we know affiliate accounts can be an additional source of revenue for authors. It's a really good way to be able to track results. So it is unfortunate. We'd love to do it. We do not have any philosophical, personal reason why we wouldn't want to put your affiliate links in and let earn some additional income. But unfortunately, due to the way that Amazon deems these links and the risk that it opens up to authors, we do not currently allow that. Now, if Amazon changed its terms or loosened this restriction to some degree, it's definitely something we'd be open to revisiting.
Got it. I think, no notes. That's great. I think that's, exactly why we do it. And everything that we do at Rip Mortar Media is designed around the author, right? Like we want authors first, support the author. So, we generally do what's good for the author community. And, Amazon, we all have a mixed relationship with the largest book retailer on the face of the planet, but their terms and conditions are sort of the law of the land. Okay, I want to hop to maybe one of the other questions in the bag around genre, because here at Written Word Media, a lot of our promotions are based on genre, right? Because genre is one of the most important predictors of why a reader is going to like the book, and we get genre questions all the time. So Emma, what are some genre questions that we've gotten in the past week?
Yeah, we get a lot of genre questions. Ferol, you're absolutely right about that. I think this is one of the most common things, especially because although it would be nice and neat and clean if every book was only one genre very specifically, that is very rarely the case. So yeah, here's an example. This is just a fun one from this week, but this is a kind of larger question that we get pretty frequently. So this author wrote in and said, "Hi there. I'm not sure what category to put my books on witchcraft in. Religion and spirituality or general nonfiction? They're beginning books on witchcraft. Please advise, and thank you."
Yeah, so to be clear, these are actual books on how to conduct witchcraft, right? So we think from this one. Yeah. And this part of the reason why I want to do this question and why I love doing what we do is like authors are awesome. There's these books for everybody in the modern world. Like there's an audience for every single book. And so, some people would be like, oh, like witchcraft, like that's a little crazy, but like it's awesome crazy, right? And there's a group of people that want to read this book. And like, I think part of our job is to help these kinds of authors figure out how to get that book. And so I really was excited when I saw this question on the docket because, it's a little bit of an out there topic, but I think it's really cool. And so Emma, I'm really curious as someone who's, worked in publishing before you worked with us, like, how do you answer, what I would imagine is a thorny genre question like this?
Yeah. So the truth is the way we usually answer this is we say, hey, send us your link and we'll take a look at your book. So that our wonderful team will take a look at your Amazon listing. And so Ricci talked a little bit about sort of our very targeted audiences. And when we're doing this, when we're thinking about genre and when we're looking at an Amazon page, what we're doing is trying to make the best match possible. So we want to make sure that if we look at your book and determine like, yeah, I think this would do well in religion and spirituality, that the content of your book is more aligned with that audience of ours, maybe not that audience in the world, but that audience of our email recipients than the other genre that you were considering. So in this case, it's general nonfiction. And the place we usually start is just those Amazon Kindle categories. So if your book is shelved, electronically, in something that's specifically, in this case, witchcraft or, something spirituality, then that's where I would tell you to run this. And that's because you're going to see better alignment, like I said, with our audience in that particular category. And general nonfiction, I think in this case, could really encompass so many things, right? It could be a book about gardens or dogs or, lots and lots of things. It could be a memoir. It could be all sorts of things. So I think you're going to find a higher target match running a book on witchcraft and religion and spirituality because you already know that audience is interested in that particular thing. That said, if you are the author, you know your book really well. And if this is a case where, which we do see this, if this is a case where it fits amazingly in two different categories, or if you feel really strongly that the content is one way or another, like we're happy to talk to you about that. And we have even had instances where authors felt so strongly that their book, crossed over into two different categories so much so that we ran them in both, that they decided to cross promote them to two different audiences. So that's also a possibility. You know, we're more than happy to work with you to find the right audience, but it's not always easy. It's not always straightforward. So if you're not sure, like, definitely start the conversation with us. This question is great because it starts a conversation, and in doing so, you're going to have a much more successful promotion.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is, from the author perspective, be open to experimentation. So our team is great. We've seen like literally tens of thousands of promotions, right? So like we have a ton of experience about what works and what doesn't, but what matters for your unique piece of art that you've created is how it resonates, right? Not what we think generally it's going to resonate. And so trying both, and like our team is super, as long as it fits the genre, which, this one, I think, Emma, you'd agree, like could go either way, right? Like, and so try one, and then a month or two later, try the other. And then you can kind of see, and that'll also give you, the author, information about who like resonates with your book. Like, you actually be like, okay, well, maybe next time I run an ad, it should be a little bit more skewed to the nonfiction audience, or, hey, this like group of people that likes books around spirituality, like they kind of dig this whole witchcraft thing, so let's do that. So I think having a little bit more of an open mind and be willingness to experiment is really powerful for authors.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the one thing you said, which is our team has seen tens of thousands of promos. So if you don't have a really strong feeling one way or the other, but you're just a little confused as to which genre to choose, pick a genre and then write into us and be like, I'm not sure if that was the right one. And when our team reviews every single book that comes through, and they look at the genre matching as well. So if you pick a genre and they feel like that's not quite the right match, they'll actually reach out to you and say, hey, you picked cozy mystery, but actually I think you're better off in the thriller category, as an example. Or if the match is good, you might not hear from them, but you just want somebody to tell you that you made the right choice, write into us and be like, is this the right choice? We do know our audience. We will look at the book. We do look at every single book, and we'll let you know, yep, you did great. That's the right genre. Or we'll let you know if maybe we think it will perform better somewhere else.
Okay, cool. Well, staying on genre, Emma, do we have any other questions that are sort of genre-ish where we can kind of pivot and do those now?
Yeah, we do. We have one more. A question came in this week, and this is super common. If my book is fiction and also children's, which category should I run it in?
Yeah. So I think this is similar to what we were talking about before, where there are books that fit more than one category. And, children's is really an audience more than a genre, right? Like you could have a children's mystery or, a children's fantasy novel. But Ricci, what do you think here, when a book is a fiction book, it's designed for a younger reader, what kind of advice do we give those authors?
Yeah, I think the default here would be, if you have a children's book or a YA book, to actually run it in those categories, because the audience, our children's audience, are parents of children who are buying books for their kids. The YA audience is a little different because it's both, potentially parents buying YA, but it's also a lot of people who just like YA fiction. But in general, the children's audience is a really good one. It's, a really engaged audience because it's parents who are really interested in getting their kids to read. We get some of the most heartwarming inbound communications from parents and grandparents who are signed up to children, just saying how thankful they are to get these books, to be able to download them on ebooks, how they read to their kids from the ebooks in a really affordable fashion every night. So we know that's an audience that, really loves to find and discover new books for their kids. And so I would say children's. Did I get it right, Emma?
Yes, absolutely. The other very specific thing about children's and YA books is that they're actually very regulated on retailers. So this is the only genre that's true of. But if you have published a book in children's and you've gone through the whole rigmarole, you have to indicate the age group, you have to indicate who the content is appropriate for. So yeah, anytime you're promoting a children's book, YA, middle grade, I think, that has to come first. That has to trump any other sort of subgenre. So totally agree, Ricci. You nailed it.
The other thing I would say, which is, unsolicited, is as a parent of kids that read middle grade fiction, to all the authors listening, write more of it. We want
Seriously,
more.
Yeah. There is such a shortage.
Yeah, my kids have read through like every book in that section. And now, they're kind of forced into reading books that are, have some content that's maybe a little bit too adult for them because they've read everything that exists. So write more middle grade fiction. All right, we probably have time for one more. Emma, I'm going to let you pick I know we have an endless supply of questions that we'd love answering, but what's going to take us home?
Sure. So I'm gonna end with a question that I think leads to a little bit of a bigger question. But this author wrote in and said, I had to reformat my book for KDP. Can you hold my spot while I do that?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a great question, and hold my spot has a very sort of specific meaning in the world of promotions. Ricci, do you want to field this first?
I'm going to let Emma take this one, actually, because I know this is, in terms of promo date switches and holding spots, is a lot of the bread and butter of what her team deals with on a daily basis. All
right, Emma, take it away.
Sure. So yeah, this is like the Jenga that we're always doing, right? And so the first answer, like easy answer, is you can always, like, we will always work with you. We know that stuff happens, right? KDP doesn't like something, you have trouble changing your price, you had to reschedule a release, like, we get that. We will always work with you within our capabilities to reschedule a date that actually works for you, because we want you to succeed. In an instance like this, we can kind of hold your slot. So if, give us like a good faith estimate, like, yes, this is going to be done by this time, then we'll absolutely kind of hold your slot. But what that means is that, we have limited space in every email that we send. So what that means is if we are holding a slot for you, someone else can't buy it. So what we ask that, is just that, kind of keep a dialogue open with us. Let us know as soon as possible if you're not going to make it, if you're going to want to bump it out. And that's actually often how situations like this one resolve, is we say like, hey, why don't we just like try again in a month, and that tends to work better. And we find a date that stresses you out less, stresses us out less, let somebody else buy it, and everything works out beautifully. The one thing I'll note is, we will hold a slot for you, and you can change up until 72 hours before your promotion. Once that happens, it's a lot harder for us to change things, and we probably can't fill that slot anymore. So we're not as flexible as far as, we can still change it. We just may not be able to give you a full refund for that money. So, I think the thing to know here is, like, we do this all the time. We move promotions around. We want to work with authors to make promotions successful. And we just ask that you do the same, work with us and keep us posted on what is actually happening on your end.
Yeah. And I think something important to note is, if you pay us for a slot, a month from now, and you want to, like, that's yours. We are holding that slot for you. You have paid for it. Nobody else is going to buy it. Like, you're all set. Yeah. And if things happen between the time you buy it and the time that comes up, everything that Emma just said applies. We'll try to work with you. A lot of times we can move it if it's only a few days before. Sometimes we can't. And, we do have to enforce fairness and make sure that, like, all authors get the same access to marketing, which is something that we feel very strongly about. But, like, when you buy a promotion with us, it is locked, right? And if you don't have your title, you can put in TBD in the title. As long as you get it to us before that 72-hour window, our wonderful team will update it, right? But I think it's just really important to know, people like, oh, can you hold my spot while I wait? Like, if you pay for a slot, like, it's held and it's locked and carved in stone as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, and I think the thing here is just communication, right? Communication is key. So if you're 2 weeks out and it's looking really unlikely that the book is going to be ready, just email the team and say, hey, it's unlikely. Can I, move it by 2 weeks, or can I slot in a different title? That's always an option as well. Just because you have a slot for one title, if something happens with that title, the price doesn't drop, the formatting isn't ready, you can always switch it out for another title in your catalog. And that's no problem at all. Again, if it's within the 72 hours. Now, the 72 hours might sound kind of, arbitrary to you all, but it's really just a operational issue for us because we do prepare these emails ahead of time because they go out first thing in the morning to give you all as much time as possible during your promotional day for readers to go and grab your book. And, if you think about a weekend, if we're trying to send a Monday email, we're preparing that on the Friday before. We like to give our team the weekend off. And so that's how the 72 hours comes into play, so that we can get everything prepared, kind of locked and loaded, so that the morning of your promotion, everything's ready to go and it goes out on time. And we have a really great track record of getting out daily emails on time every day for the past 20 years.
Yeah. I think, and the other thing I would say is, and we've mentioned it a lot during this, but people are like, well, how do I, talk to you? Like, the email address is hello@writtenwordmedia.com. And that email address is staffed every day of the week. So even on the weekends, even on holidays, maybe a little slower on some certain holidays, but there's always somebody there to respond to you, to help you with your promotion, to answer any of these questions. And so, we really encourage you to do that. It's part of what we love doing. It's part of why we do this, is to talk to you all. So for any authors out there listening, please feel free to write in with any question that you have, and we're here to answer it. And with that, I'm going to wrap us for this week's grab bag of author questions. Again, the email address is hello@writtenwordmedia. Write in to that email address and ask us questions, and maybe we'll talk about it on a future show.
It's great to have you here, Emma. Looking forward to doing this again.
Yes, great to be here.
Thanks for joining.
All right.